So I'm back in the hypercar hunt right now, in supercar hunt, but yesterday it was more about a hypercar. Gapin had me over to check out the new Lotus Evija, which is their new electric hypercar. This thing is the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. It's got 2,000 horsepower, 4 electric motors. It's got the batteries right behind the driver and the passenger, which no one has done. And the reason why they do that, obviously, so they can make it feel like a mid-engine car. Only 130 of those cars are gonna be made, and the price tag, and I hope you guys are ready for this, is $2.5 million. That makes it the most expensive hypercar that's electric today on the market, and also it makes it one of the rarest because they're only going to make 130 of them. Also, it makes it the most powerful one because it's got 2,000 horsepower. The numbers haven't been released yet because they don't have a working prototype yet. Everything has been done in computers and all that, but you don't have to worry about like, oh, will they hit the numbers? Will they be able to make the car? Because Geely, the company that bought Lotus and invested in Lotus, he's funding the whole thing. So everyone knows that the car is going to be delivered by the end of next year without a delay. That's what everyone is promising at Lotus right now with the car. And also, it doesn't lose the Lotus signature thing, which is lightweightness. And even though the car is going to be a little heavier than everything else, at about 1,650 kilos, you got to consider that it's going to be the lightest hypercar that's electric right now by a lot. And that's a big accomplishment in my opinion. But enough of that. Let me talk a little bit about more of the things that really caught my eye with the car. And obviously, because this is a hypercar, Lotus focused a lot on the aero. And that makes the car not only beautiful, but functional. There's a lot of passive aero, just aero that's sitting in the car. And there's also a lot of active aero on the back and even DRS, like Formula One style. When you want to cut through the air and make your pass and go faster, you just press the DRS button, the wing opens up, the air goes through the channels, and the car goes faster because it has less drag. Look at me learning about Formula One. Who would have thought so? The figures as to how much downforce the car is going to put up at what speed, they haven't been released yet. And again, it's because they know the figures on the simulator, but they haven't really put it on the road, and they don't want to overpromise or underpromise. Also, the 0 to 60 is not announced yet, but you can imagine 2,000 horsepower, it'll push the car really fast. They're saying under 3 seconds. I want to say they're very conservative right now, and that car should be able to pull it in less than 2 seconds. No question about it, because everything else will at that price. One of the things that I really liked about the car from the outside, again, is all the air holes that go through the car. On the front, on the bottom of the car, you have like some aero holes that go through the tires and then goes into the beautiful doors that remind me a lot of the 720S doors. And mind you, the doors don't have anything you can open the door with. It's a completely solid panel. They're saying that the user is going to be able to open the car with a remote. That makes total sense. Once you have your key, you open the door. But I'd say you kind of need something else there to make sure that it doesn't fail in case anything goes wrong. So anyways, the air channels through from the front all the way through the side of the car and then just goes through the back through those massive tunnels that are beautiful and remind me so much of the Ford GT, but like a Ford GT of the future. And that to me is one of the most gorgeous accents that the car has, especially when you're looking at it from behind, including those lights. And those lights are made like that, the tail lights, because they're inspired after a jet fighter burner. If you guys know what it is. So it looks exactly like that when you see it in person. Another thing I really liked is the detail of carbon fiber that they put on the front. That is a little homage to a Formula One car that Lotus had in the 70s. So that looks really cool. Not only looks cool, but it's like a little nice homage and also like a reminder to them of staying within their tradition, which is racing, which is heritage, which is all the stuff that they do really great. Now, I was wondering what powertrain are they using? Are they using maybe a Rimac, kind of like the Pininfarina? Are they using their own? So they're using a Williams racing powertrain for the car. What does that mean? Williams also races in Formula E, and that is the expertise that they're borrowing from Williams to make the car go as fast as it's gonna go. So I think we're in good hands because Formula E has a lot of performance, a lot of heat, a lot of cold. The cars go non-stop really fast, and it's a lot of accelerations, a lot of braking. So the batteries are gonna be, I wanna say, pretty reliable, especially coming from that world and going to that race. You can tell that that's gonna be phenomenal. Also on the outside, the car has so many details. Again, like I said, the air on the bottom of the car, the air on the hood of the car, the doors that open with the remote. My God, those are beautiful. And you also don't get to see any mirrors. And the reason why is because they're going with what everyone else is going with, which is cameras that come out of the car, come out right of the doors. And I know a lot of people are scared of those. Are you going to be able to really see? And you can see whatever's in your mirror. If you were looking exactly at that door on your right side or your left-hand side, there's going to be a little screen. Sergio and I were lucky enough already to drive an Urus with those. And I'm telling telling you, it works flawlessly. Your visual range is pretty darn good, which I was very surprised about. I never thought that that would be an actual solution for this, and it is. Another little detail that the car has, it doesn't have a rear view mirror, but instead has another camera, and that camera is outside mounted right underneath that straight light that the car has, so you can always see behind you. And that is a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous detail. All the way on the back, I was also wondering what the hell is that little panel that opens in between the taillights? That little panel is for you to charge the car. So whenever you're ready, boop, you plug it, the car opens up, and you put your charger in, which is another gorgeous feature because it hides the fact that it would have like a little gas tank or like an e-cap, if you will, so that you can plug it in. Now, going into the interior, there's something that I really love. And mind you, this is a carbon monocoque that we're talking about, so the car's gonna be rigid and stiff as hell, like your boy when he was looking at the car, so just keep that in mind. One thing I really liked about that monocoque is the easy access that you have into the car. Because back in the day, like on the 918, on the P1, it was really hard to get into the car. That takes a little bit away from it because not everyone can get into those cars. And this one, they went with the LaFerrari way. The door's really thick and the tub's actually really thin and not hard to get into it at all. The seats are beautiful, they're comfortable. It doesn't feel like a Performante where you sit and you break your asshole. These seats actually can hold a person. Another detail that I loved was the floating dashboard. So you're not gonna have a glove box, but all of your storage is gonna be either on the side of the car right here to the left of the door or on the right, obviously, and also in another compartment right here, kind of like the 720S. That floating dashboard makes the car feel very spacious, and at the same time, even though you're in a tiny car, you feel like there's a lot of room in there and you can stretch your legs really nicely. Also, you're not sitting on the floor like in these hypercars like the Valkyrie and even the Valhalla, which is pretty crazy how you got a seat like a Formula One driver. It's cool, of course, but this is a more usable car that we're talking about. Also, in the Lotus tradition, they wanted to focus this car more on the driving experience. So they put that awesome steering wheel that has pretty much everything in there. So your blinkers, your radio, anything you want to change is going to be right there on your steering wheel. The only bad thing about that steering wheel that is so sexy and race-oriented is going to be parking, because that's going to be a weird, you can't do the traditional smooth operator thing with it. You're gonna have to maneuver that in a weird way, but hopefully Lotus will be smart enough to put a self-parking thing on it, which now with today's technology, those are pretty good. So if they can do that, then problem solved. The car doesn't have any problems at all. What else did I really like? I really like the center console, kind of like in the 918 style, and I love what they did with they actually had shapes within between buttons, and the reason why they added that texture in there is so you can feel what button you're pressing, and it's not just a flat screen and you're like guessing where it is and you can't hold it with your hand. So that makes it really easy. Everything is really thought out, which I was very amazed because this is Lotus' first attempt at making a car like this, and I think they're gonna do incredibly well. So again, $2.5 million, 4 electric motors, 2,000 horsepower, all-wheel drive, and looks that kill. Will this be a car that I'm looking into buying? I honestly want to drive one first because at $2.5 million, it's really hard for me to believe that the price will remain there. I do think the car is going to take a massive dip after it comes out, especially considering how many of those cars are coming out right now and what's happening with the market. After Car Week especially, we saw a 25% decline in sales at the auction. So what does that mean? That the time to buy is getting nearby. And I'm a big fan. So Lotus, I'm a big fan of what you guys did. I'm honestly a big fan. I think that is the best looking electric hypercar that exists right now. And if I were to buy one without thinking about money and an investment, because it's not an investment, but at $2.5 million, I don't want to lose $1 million just by driving a car. I would take this one, absolutely. Well, I hope you guys enjoy it. Some sick shots by Sergio, and have a good one.